Does
Well,
Jack Stickle own that land from the funeral home? Does he own that back there?
I really don't know who owns it, but I know it's been told it's washing away terribly. That some of the utility lines are exposed now. Don't watch now.
ready? All right, we'll call the meeting
Ready to
order
go.
at 5:31.
Hey Brian, just as an FYI, at 6:30, there's a meeting for the parade committee. If for some reason we're still going on, I'll probably cut out and go, give big thank yous over there and that kind of thing, and then come back.
Kids babies will do the real work.
Yeah, that's fine. Just wanted to give you a heads up.
Lieutenant Mason, Chief Mason, I'm sorry. You're up.
Oh, okay. I hope everybody got the right meeting agenda. I sent out another correction today.
Change that.
Yeah, I know. I see that.
What's your corrections? Do I have a correct one?
The overtime usage was amended. I'll start there. Overtime usage, April, 11,950.
Yeah.
Year to date, 43,347. There was another one that went out this morning. I guess.
I asked Linda to get it to you, so maybe she put it in boxes.
She did. Thank you.
I'm not so sure I know who I am apparently from the rank line there. I'm conflicted.
Yeah, I see that.
Anyway, we've had a fairly bad year as far as the overtime go. We've controlled it as much as we can. Part of the year we had Patrolman Fortney was out on maternity leave, and then we had about a month that Jim Crozier was out. He is back in duty as of last week, so we're back to full forces again. He was out because he injured his leg chasing the shoplifter. On to statistics, the calls for service are down just slightly from last year. 2012, as you can see, but 2012 was one of those outlier years that was kind of up there for everything for some reason. But we're ringing in pretty true. Offense reports just down a few from last year. Accidents looks like we're slightly up. I would say that was probably due to weather. We didn't have the greatest of weather for the month. Citations were up slightly.
Arrests were up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Anything in particular in there?
No, I'm telling you, our guys are just really busy when it comes to that. Some of the fact that you might see citations have maintained where they are is kind of funny, because sometimes when the arrests go up, the citations go down. They're spending more time. But the arrests, I didn't get them broke down, but I know that we're still getting a lot of shoplifters out of Walmart calls, but also the weather got a little better. The arrests tend to rise for that. Also, there are plenty of drugs in town still. They're still getting plenty of drug arrests out of traffic stops and different contacts that they're making, watching who's coming and going out of hotels and stuff. I guess our hotel across the street's under new management. Did you know that?
The Motel 6?
What's the one right
Talking about
beside
the one right-
Tri-County?
Oh, right over here.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're under
I
new
guess-
management last week. They were over there cleaning out a bunch of the old carpet and a bunch of the old furniture and stuff. So hopefully they're going to put some money into place, and the ne'er-do-wells that's been hanging out there causing trouble will stop and go find someplace else to go. We've had quite a few of our drug people in Licking County hanging out over there and made some arrests. Alarms were about the same. They were just a little change. 29 total alarms, 3 residential, 26 commercial. Says the migration of mobile LE is close to completion. Actually did finish that. We're totally over to the new mobile program in the cars. It's provided by Emergitech now. It's a cost-saving measure and actually a better product than what we were paying for before. We have 2 new Dodge cars that's arrived tomorrow. One of the old cars is going to be stripped out, and we'll have one of those by the end of the week completely outfitted without graphics yet. The graphics are going to be Monday or Tuesday next week. We'll get the new graphics on, passed around the new graphics that the officers designed themselves. I invited them to participate. I had heard some grumblings that they didn't like the flashy NASCAR look anymore and wanted to tone things down a little. So I put it back in their laps and said, well, give me some suggestions. They bandied about some suggestions for a few weeks and borrowed from here and from there and came up with the new design, which is distinctive, but definitely less on the flashy side, a little monochromatic, so to speak, there. Actually, two colors, white and blue, is what you're going to see.
How about the process of getting them outfitted with the police package, the lights, the backseat area thing? How long does that take?
One of the cars will be done this week, completely upfitted.
Okay.
But I don't want to down two cars at the same time. So that car will be down. They'll be able to use it, but you can't use it for traffic enforcement because doesn't have the distinctive markings on it yet. So they'll be able to use it, but not for traffic enforcement. So it's not going to get a lot of usage. They'll probably use it as a last resort.
Okay.
Monday or Tuesday, the graphics guy will come and put graphics on the car that is completely upfitted, and then he'll put graphics on the car that's just not been upfitted.
Okay.
That way the graphics will be done on those two cars, and then we'll drive that one and its other car to the upfitters to get the equipment swap out and get it set up next week. So by the end of next
Oh, that's
week.
right, because we're taking some of the stuff out of the old.
Oh yeah, we're saving money. We're reusing a lot of the stuff. Unfortunately, due to the model year change going from 10 to 14, they changed some of the dimensions of the interior of the car, so some of the parts couldn't be reused, but the lights, the siren, etc., will be good. And
Maybe I missed it. Is this just on the new cars here?
Mhm.
Correct.
We're not doing this on the old cars.
No.
no, I'd like to, but there's
These are the
not
two.
money.
These are the two new Chargers.
Yeah, and then the new Ford SUV will get the same treatment. The K9 car. It's going to be a Ford SUV. That one is still on its way to the dealership. It's not arrived.
Now, will that like have K9 unit on?
Yeah, it'll have distinctive K9 unit markings, and it'll have some darkened windows.
Yeah, okay.
And all the special K9 equipment. It'll have a bailout system in the kennel and that. But we went with an SUV this time because Ford's come up with an innovative design. Their SUV is basically the same as their Ford Interceptor Cruiser. It's on the same platform, same, what do I want to say,
Chassis.
frame and chassis, just a different body. So it doesn't sit up as high. I think it has larger tires than the other, but it's rated for pursuit. So it doesn't have that big rollover factor that the old SUVs had, but yet it's going to be all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. So it'll be better to use, in our snow that we tend to get here as well.
Hey Chief, do you specify the size of tires and the stop? Okay, I didn't know whether you did.
No, the tire size is totally controlled by the builder and designer of the vehicle. They put the proper size tire on it for whatever usage it's going to be. And of course, they have to be speed rated
Yeah.
for pursuit. So that makes them a little more expensive than the average bear, but we get a pretty good deal on the state bid through Goodyear for that stuff. Last thing on the new cars, I did have to prepare a legislative request as I went through the bids for the Ford SUV, for the K9. Chief Shepherd did not include the storage unit that goes in the back in the cargo area for it that I discussed with him. It's about a $3,000 item. But without that, there's no place for the K9 officer to store his gear. It would just fly all over the cargo area back there. And these are designed to fit it back there. They have locks and keys on them. His long guns, his rifle, his shotgun will be in there, secure. Also, as you probably know, our dog is also a narcotics dog. So there are narcotics toys that they use that actually contain narcotics to train the dogs with that he keeps in that car. So it has to be locked and secured in a box. Currently, he's got a lock box in the other car, but this will do away with the need for all that. It's going to secure his firearms. He won't need a rack for the long guns.
This is built right in.
It's an add-on part. It will be attached on rails inside on the cargo floor, and these drawers will slide in and out.
Okay.
Similar to what probably Mark has on his command vehicle. You have something like that in a truck, right? So it's very similar to that. It serves about the same purpose. It'll secure everything so it doesn't get flying around and keep it. Plus, he's got so many leashes and harnesses and the dog's electronic collar, the dog's body armor, other things that he's got. The bite sleeves, he's got to carry those. So all that stuff being said, I prepared a legislative request with Auditor Heath Alexander for $2,975 from capital improvements to police machines and equipment. Now keep in mind in the comments here, those funds are going to be replaced with the sale of the 2006 Mercury Marquis that I'm currently driving. We'll be selling that, and I assume we'll get at least $3,000 for that. And also one of the Dodges will be sold as well. So we're going to be putting money back into the capital improvements, even more than this amount once those sales go through.
Good.
And that's all I have, sir.
Mayor, we good with this?
Yes.
Any questions, Chief Mason, anybody? You said that's all, Chief?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I do have
Yes.
in this car, are they comfortable with the shotgun and the rifle clear in the back?
There's really no other place to put it because of all the other type stuff that he carries in there. But yeah, they're a secondary weapon. They're a weapon of choice. So you have to use whatever tactics it is to get your weapon safely, whether it's here beside you in the rack. I mean, it's a weapon of choice. Or you have to get out and retrieve it from the back. So yeah, he's fine. His best weapon is in the back seat on a bailout system.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he needs backup real quick, he's got it.
As I've occasionally seen the training that canine officers throughout Licking County do, I think there's quite a few canine officers that drive SUVs now in the county.
Yes.
So it's not something that's unusual, and Officer MD's peers, have a similar type setup.
Does he have the ability to have the shotgun beside him too? Or he doesn't have a mount like you got in the Cruiser?
No, he prefers it in this position.
Okay.
It's just easier for him.
Still got a pistol on his side.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's got a pistol on his side. He's got a bunch of teeth in the back seat.
He's got a
So.
bunch of teeth in the back. Yeah.
Mayor, there's somebody out there, longer around.
Good.
I think somebody was waiting for that meeting, probably.
Any other questions for Chief? Okay, we'll move on to fire at 5:44. Thank you, Chief.
Okey-doke. April statistics.
I think that's for the parade meeting. It's
Okay,
6:30.
very good. Somebody wandering around looked lost, so. 33 fire runs, 182 total for the month, 117 EMS calls, which seems to be very low. I checked again with 904 this morning, and that's, as they told me, as far as they know, that's the count that we've got. They're still having issues. They can't give me mutual aid given and received, any of that stuff yet, because it hasn't been programmed into the CAD system, so, the new CAD system, so. So that's an ongoing, but they claim it's getting better. 87 transports, you can see we're down on transports, up on fire calls, and down on.
Wait. Let me see if I understand what you just said.
Okay.
they are not able to retrieve data that shows what departments responded to a call.
That is, as far as they can give me a list of calls that we've had, but as far as being able to go in and query specific mutual aid calls to Heath and extract what departments responded, they don't have that capability yet. It has not been programmed into the CAD system. Per Dave Ruton.
Is it in the system, but they don't just have a report that can grab that data?
The information is probably in the system, but they don't have a program developed yet to extract that information.
Okay, I got you.
So
You probably use Crystal Reporting or
So
some
they don't
other
have
software
they don't have a report written.
that's written to
because
grab it.
Yeah. Okay.
Ruton stated that he just has not had time yet to develop the program to extract that information.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and I asked the question. I said, just for a little less confusion, I still go back to Heath being the backup, and that's still kind of a controversial area.
Trying
And
to
he-
back up 911 center.
Backing up the 911 center, and Johnny and I have talked to Chief Mason and all, and I said, I have a question because it was stressed to us at the fire chief's meeting that, oh, no, the mech center has to be because of the federal grant that was written and all that. And I said, so my question to you is why, if the mech center has to be the backup center, when everything went down here recently, why didn't the mech center step up and take over? And the answer I got was, right now, they're not, the mech center doesn't even have radio communications with our county.
What is the max?
The mech center is
Where?
it's over in Gahanna.
The acronym is like
Brooklyn
what?
County.
Metropolitan Emergency. I can't
What is it, Kent?
remember what it is. You know, don't you, Kent? No.
It's something along the lines
do
of
fire
what you're saying.
dispatching
Yeah.
for about 5 departments, Violet Township and Mifflin Township, Whitehall. Several of them. You have 2 dispatch centers in Franklin County. One's Columbus Fire, and the other is the mech center. And this is one that they're trying to utilize the mech center in Franklin County as a backup center in lieu of Heath being the backup. But as I said, for Ruton today, he said they don't even have the communication capability with them right now. And it's like, okay. And he goes, and we're not even going to be able to, they just kind of tabled that today. He said they must have had a radio meeting today because he said right now we're not even going to worry about it until we get some of our other problems.
Yeah, we're still the backup, right?
And
Right.
as right now, yes.
We're the only facility that has the ability to do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Like I said, the mech center doesn't have the equipment installed that can, that's programmed to talk to all the agencies here or set the tones off for all the agencies here. But
Yeah.
we have the ability to do that here.
Okay. All right.
So, and I was invited to a meeting there to continue on with what Mark was saying. Last Friday, they were holding it on Friday morning. They talked to me Tuesday or Wednesday. They were going to discuss backup. And I told them, well, it's Youth and Government Day Friday. There's no way I can be there. Can we have it in the afternoon? And they said no, they had too many people already set to attend the meeting in the morning that they would make good notes and get back with me.
Okay.
So they had a meeting about backup services and
You didn't prioritize the
Didn't
existing
bother.
backup service.
didn't bother to invite you either, apparently. Because you could have attended if they asked me to go and I couldn't make it because Youth and Government Day.
They don't want me there.
Well, somebody should have been there, but they
Yeah.
gave me such poor notice I couldn't get there, and they were inflexible about their time. And
So there was as a
I don't know what they talked
there was
about.
a meeting that was conducted this morning, but that's all he said. And they were just kind of going to table that stuff for right now. So anyway, that being said, you can see the mutual aid's given I don't have any of what was received at the time, so.
So the mutual aid given, is that from our information?
That is from the information that, yeah, just, I hand extracted that out of our stuff,
Yeah, okay.
so. Legislative requests, recently the Eagles had their awards dinner and gave us $300 out of the Heart Fund, and that $300 we put in the general fund, and a legislative request to pull that out of the general and put it in our EMS fund. We also received, approximately $1,750 from the state firefighter grant that we talk about every year. We send people, out of this year's budget, we send people to fire school, and then the state reimburses us the following spring or whatever, so we got back $1,700+ Heath has that check.
Did you eat while at the meeting?
I'm sorry?
Did you eat while at the meeting?
I'm sorry.
When you got your $300?
Oh, I'm sorry, I did not attend.
You did?
I was incapacitated at the time. Yeah, that was.
I heard him say there was some money, food left over.
Well, thanks, Dick.
Brian, that handling, that paper trail or whatever you wanna call it on that, like that's standard for.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, monthly expenses, as you can see, or overtime, payroll's about the same. Overtime is about twice what it was in 2013. And the overtime is up dramatically compared to last year, but we had Hoffman gone, we had Hoffman just returned. He's had a long-lasting urinary tract issue, and Roger Baker's dad was buried today. He has been off and spending as much time as he could with his dad, and he was in a hospice, and it was one of those on again, off again. He'd drive for a while, so he finally passed a couple days ago and buried him today. So, questions on that? Under equipment, this hydraulic block, as you recall, we had Tower 10 was down. The block, according to Pierce, was, they was going to take us 13 weeks, whatever. They got us one. It was about $5,000. Since then, Captain Kozlowski has dug into the old one. You can buy rebuild kits and such, and I'm having him rebuild that at the station, so we'll have a spare. It's something we may never use. However,
It's got.
we've got it for under $1,000. That block could have been, we spent $4,000 through Pierce, and they claimed it couldn't be done.
Couldn't be rebuilt?
Couldn't be rebuilt at all, and
Of course not. Of course not, if they're gonna catch $4,000.
Yeah.
so anyway, but at the time we just, it was one of those, didn't know, I didn't want the tower down that long and such, so we were kind of, but anyway, we will have a spare. So, once again, cause and his mechanical abilities or whatever. That
Anybody
and,
else in the department who has the same ability as him, or is he the only one?
no, he is the only one that has extensively worked on all the equipment.
Uh-huh.
They, about everybody on the shift changes light bulbs, some of the siren speakers.
Yeah.
and
No, he does
things.
more heavy. He does a lot of heavy duty stuff.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Roger Baker is another. They were talking at the church today how his father was great with mailing wire and such, and Roger Baker inherited that from his dad. But he's kind of a fix-all kind of guy too.
Okay.
So he does some repair stuff for us too, and some welding and things when it needs to be done.
Okay.
So we have several people that have the mechanical ability to do that, but cause just through experience
Sure.
all these years has worked on things. So. Jamie Jones is been added to the overtime list, which good for him. He has been counted for a while, and as I mentioned earlier, Lieutenant Baker's father passed away and was buried today. The Denver drill is just a window with a ladder, and it's a simulated quick escape. If you've got a firefighter down or a civilian down in an upper floor or whatever, and you need to get them out quickly, you're talking a large person or whatever, there's a specific way to pick them up. I mean, when they're just a heavy sack of potatoes or whatever, but this teaches proper lifting and how to bring them down a ladder. So anyway, it was built by one of our guys. It's on loan from York Township, but we're going to use it for training. They're going to use it for training Wednesday night. I'm not bailing out any windows yet. But so anyway,
This is the volunteer training.
volunteer and the paid staff will be using it too there. Finalizing the software. Warren has been loading some equipment per our conversation yesterday. I think he needs to load up some numbers for all the volunteers because the computer requires some sort of identification
Okay.
for them, and that's just so we don't have numbers assigned to our
Oh,
volunteer staff. We have employee numbers for our paid staff. So anyway, he's working on that, and that will pretty much be ready
good.
to roll.
We've talked about that before in here too. This new software product from what's the name of the company? Firehouse, I believe.
Firehouse software, yeah. We're
Is-
off about a month, but
It's going to replace the EMS software that we currently are using. It will be at a lower annual cost and its functionality seems to be a little bit better suited for our department's needs. So it's good all the way around, I think.
the
Monthly fees.
Not the way that's reduced.
no, there shouldn't be the monthly fees at all. You still have an annual fee for certain things, and it's
Your licensing is
stored in the cloud type concept, but it's not going to be anywhere close to what.
Count your fees for the volume of transaction.
Yeah, you pay one time like a licensing fee annually for that. So anyway, the self-contained breathing apparatus, which is the SCBA, that's the federal grant. Those packs have been released. We're waiting by the end of this week. The company that we're purchasing from, Fire Safety Services, should have those in hand, and we should have them about the first week of June per Ralph Swick. So those will be in play shortly. We'll have a couple training sessions. The Life Pack 15s, the new heart monitors, have also gone in service. We still possess the 12s, but sometime this week Warren will be returning the Life Pack 12s to Licking Memorial, which is, gosh, let's do legislation on that again for the third time. Just kidding. And so anyway, I was just stating, Mayor, that the Life Pack 15s are in service.
Okay, good.
They're using them.
And
And then
thank you to LMH for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, LMH. And then just levy information, I had a couple more questions. That was this other piece of paper I gave you that I talked with Brad Cottrell. And just, of course, ask him pertaining to if we were to just leave things as they were, go after a 1 mil, would it truly only be a $35 a year, and then how soon did it need to be applied for and such? So anyway, you can read that for your viewing pleasure, whatever, but,
Well, this is from the
this,
last month where we had the breakdown of the
That's
existing levies and if we reset them or if we went for something different or
something
whatever.
new or whatever, yeah.
Okay,
This-
okay.
That was a nice article, Kit.
Thank you.
Yeah, that did a pretty good job of making a very complex thing rather simple.
Simple.
Yeah.
Take back everything we said about you.
Until next week.
So anyway, I don't know if anybody had any questions on that, but, and if you got any more questions, I'll gladly fire them to them and we'll go from there. I had mentioned we were researching, trying to get some grant money to buy some turnout gear, and I got a Dear John letter from the state that said, sorry, but the money's already been spent, so we didn't get any money for that.
Were we late in putting the application in?
No, it just said that there was so many more people applied for stuff than the money that was available.
Okay.
Weather warning computers and repairs, the weather sirens, we had some problems over at Hitchcock Park. A switch allowed it to rotate further than it should have because the switch was bad and it tore some of the wiring loose. So about $700 in repairs. I've already authorized that to be repaired. And then Chief Mason and I have talked, and he needs a computer. I have money budgeted for the repair and maintenance on that equipment. He needs a computer. You got me a Dell quote of about $850 for the weather warning monitoring software and such. So I've got a PO written, and
Is that something for the dispatchers,
Did I
that
miss
software? Do
something
they monitor
on
that?
Wednesday, or did the siren not?
It's actually what operates the whole system.
Wherever it is.
Oh,
By the radio.
the system operates on software and it has a
I
display.
mean,
You
when
see
that
it all
thing
in them,
blares,
it gives you
we
alerts
know
if they're not working.
where we're at.
It's,
Last Wednesday, wife said,
it's an XP machine, a very old
she asked me third.
machine, so it's-
No, I didn't hear you.
I'll tell you, and I would have been home. I couldn't tell you one way or the other, but that Oxycontin's pretty good stuff.
Blame it on that.
Been there, done that. No, but
I couldn't. What? I can remember hearing a siren blowing, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Maybe we just,
They told you not to mix that with vodka, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the directions.
Oh boy, I'll tell you.
I don't remember tornado sirens going off anytime recently.
See, they usually at 12:15 on Wednesday afternoon.
Oh no, that.
Well, that's a normal test.
Yeah, that's
A
the normal
normal
test.
test, but I didn't
Yeah.
hear it last Wednesday.
Oh.
I don't know.
I was out on Irvingwick, I think, last when that test went off. I
Okay.
remember.
Did you
I was
hear it?
driving
Heard
by.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
They test every Wednesday and we did have alerts and alarms. I think they emailed you,
Right.
Mark, to let you know that there was problems. So is that what the $700 was for?
Yeah,
Was
the,
ones that just came up?
Hitchcock Park. I haven't heard anything on. I know Sherry Hunt had sent me. They keep me informed whenever there's a trouble. And the Boeing siren was in a trouble status, and the Hitchcock Park was also trouble. BNC had already been out, and that's where they had determined that they needed a wiring harness and some other things. All the labor on that is included in our maintenance agreement, so we don't have to pay for that, just the parts.
So that siren in Hitchcock Park does not just rotate.
No, it rotates about 350 degrees, and then
Oh, and then it comes back.
comes
around.
back, and that way,
I got you.
and that's what it decided to go a little further
Keep
than
going.
it should have.
Yeah.
It ripped the harness because of a limit switch.
Okay.
It was bad on there, so
Okay.
that's what. And to my knowledge, they were still waiting on the parts. Last correspondence I had with them.
When I get back over there, I'll check the status because it'll display on the screen if it's good or not.
But I've got a PO already written for the Dell, and Mayor will have that tomorrow if that's okay.
Okay.
We haven't talked about that, but John and I did.
That's fine.
And then just under other, looking for specialty, I know I had mentioned before bariatric things and all, and oh my God, while we were looking at EMS units and some of these loading devices, I didn't realize they run anywhere from $20,000 to $60,000 over and above just to load some of this stuff. And the guys have been talking about these automated CPR units that wrap around the victim and
That one
give
thing you're talking about, is that
continuous-
the crane thing where it kind of pulls the cot up into the, is that what you're talking about?
a form of that. There are multiple devices, lifting cots. There's Courtesy has got the bariatric unit that's got wheel ramps and a winch and such.
Uh-huh.
And looking for, and there is grant monies through Bureau Workers Comp and all that, so we're still looking for a source
Some money.
to possibly fund some of that.
'Cause
But
the
we're
unit
also
itself's
taking a
a
look-
Big chunk of money.
Yes, but also taking a look at some other things that possibly would be beneficial to our patients. And one of those, Mayor, they've got battery powered, in my day, they called them thumpers. They were pneumatically controlled, but they actually went over the victim's chest and they gave steady chest compressions, and with our limited manpower and stuff. And the nice thing is, if you're carrying somebody down a flight of steps or whatever, normally you have to stop compressions and all. And these continuously give nonstop
While you're moving them.
moving them and such. They're battery powered, and the thing with that is, when you stop doing CPR compressions, the blood pressure, the circulation stops, and it takes quite a few seconds to reestablish that circulation again. And this is just as beneficial to the patient, whatever. Some of those units are running anywhere from $12,000 to $20,000 per unit. So anyway, it's expensive stuff. We're going to take a look and see. Last EMS conference that Captain Miller and a couple of them went to, one of the trauma surgeons from over in the Columbus area said there really wasn't any good information that said that those devices proved to be any more effective than just doing manual CPR like we do. But I find that kind of hard to believe, and I know with what New York City is doing with they're doing something totally different than what the rest of the county is. And there was an article in the paper about a 25% increase in their save rate and such. And 200 compressions, they're not innovating, and they're just putting a mask on them and letting. Anyway, it's just.
Well, it makes sense because then it frees that person up to do other things.
That's correct.
So yeah, it just kind of makes sense.
So anyway, we're checking into that too, or whatever. We're not going to buy anything without you guys.
I was going to say,
knowing.
is the thought process that we would have one in each of the two squads?
The CPR unit. We've talked amongst the crews, and they're like, could we maybe even get one right now and try it? West Licking, there's a couple, 2-3 departments in the county that can purchase them, but they're quite expensive, and I think West Licking put 3 up in service.
Okay.
I've not even talked with West Licking, but Doug Brown, who works part-time at West Licking, was one that suggested that we take a look at possibly buying at least one unit.
Okay.
So anyway, we're
All
gonna kind of R&D and take a look, and then find a source to help pay for it.
Okay.
So, and that is all I have. Any questions?
Ready? Adjourn at 6:08.
Thanks, guys.
Gosh, make a break.
Chief, are you sticking around for the meeting for the parade thing, or you got that all taken care of?
We got other things to do.
Okay, that's fine. I
Yeah,
know.
well, I think we're good to go.
Okay. All right.
As long as CERT doesn't stand in here.
Yeah.
But they said they're sending 10 people, so that'd be good.
That's fantastic.
See, the galleries are playing that with discussion again about the people straight down by Rockwell.
Well, that would be up to the commission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John told Bob in an email.
Go.